Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, good. Yay, it works. I'm at my Balinese little villa right on the rice field. So let's see if I can show you. It's really hot, so I'm wearing a bikini top. let's, this is you
Wow.
can see. I don't know if I'm showing you very well. There's someone in the rice fields right now. So I just finished teaching, rushed over. So I'm glad this works. Yay. All right. So Annie, we got the dates wrong. So I thought it'd be just a good opportunity to have a little, still wanted to check in and see where you guys are and how things are going and do some just troubleshooting and coaching and answer questions. We've done a lot so far it's for, feels like we've been in this, like this course has been going for a long time, but I guess it's only been like 3 weeks. Officially 3 weeks, really, there was the prep school and all that. So I'd love to start with a quick, check in each one. Madeline, yes, we can see you. Yep.
Oh, I can't see myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not on the screen. Anyway, that's okay.
We can
I'm
see
good with
you.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I'll mute.
Okay. Hi. So I'd love, and it's like a fly. I'm outside, so out with the bugs. If you could just share one thing that you have implemented so far. Hi, Becca. In the course. So we can just all unmute because it'll be more of a conversation today. Oh, I think I'm unmuting and you guys are remuting. I'll let you do it. Okay, so yeah, just share, one thing that you've kind of implemented from the course so far, something that's going well. So yeah, I'll call you out. So Olive, so you're at the top. Oh, I can't hear you. No, there, wait, no.
How's that?
Yes.
Okay. I always have to switch. It switches on me. I don't know which one, but anyway. I always have to think, okay, which I'm taking both courses, so I have to think, which course am I talking about? I guess the big one for this one is the cluttering and decluttering. So I've been working on that, coming home at lunchtime and just doing a little bit at a time. So someday my office is going to be nice and clean behind me. But so yeah, I've started to do that, and I also worked ahead a little bit and started to do the tell your story. So
Awesome.
yeah, I enjoyed that, and so I've been answering some of the worksheets and doing some deep thinking. So
Nice.
so it's good.
Great.
Yeah, thinking about what I want.
Awesome. Thank you. And I am going to actually mute you guys and unmute you because there's some background noise. So Madeline, you're unmuted now.
Okay. I guess I've done the same. I've done some decluttering, a little bit. We did a massive declutter before the course started. Trying to keep up with my breath body practices. This week has not gone very well, but some weeks are like that. One thing I have done is, I don't know if it was through our discussions or maybe through some of the books, but really tried to focus in on my one thing without getting too, I think it was from our coaching call, without getting too scattered with different ideas. So I've really been trying to like hone it down, keep it simple.
Yeah, good. And so and your one thing is working on your course?
The online course. Yeah, that's taking far too long.
Everything always does. It always takes longer than we want it to.
Yeah. There always seems to be something coming up, and I honestly don't know if it's me. I can't tell if it's me like sabotaging by getting focused on different things, or if life is just really continues to get in the way. It's really hard to tell.
I think it's important to not, take things as like, oh, this is a sign I shouldn't be doing this, or just take things as they come and just stay focused on making it happen. Because sometimes we get sidetracked and we feel like, oh, maybe this isn't the right time, or maybe I shouldn't be working on this, or maybe this isn't meant to be, or we'll start reading into all that stuff, and all the limiting beliefs start to come up. But just, if things come up, just, it's an obstacle, find a strategy around it, and then keep moving forward and stay connected to that one thing, to that vision. So you don't allow, whether that's a resistance or not, like you don't allow it to sidetrack you. You don't allow it to basically stop you from moving forward. Because whether it's, you're creating it or not, like it's basically how you deal with it, like how you choose to then move forward, whether it's inside of your head or if it's outside in the world.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because I just thought this week, after I had a big meeting last night with a group that I chair, and there were so many issues that came out of that needed to be dealt with today. And I was like, really? Like, how can things continue to implode on? But then I thought, well, you know what? If I was actually getting up and I had to go to work somewhere for 2 hours, if I was in my regular job, I would do it. And I would cut out that time. So why can I not cut out that time to say, this is the time for my projects?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, so I have to stop thinking like, this, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this because I don't seem to be very motivated.
No, that's just resistance. That's, the resistance with the capital R. And that's something I wanted to talk about today, of this idea of, I'm reading Going Pro by Stephen Pressfield. And it was just something I was thinking about a lot, and how, I love to read high performance books and books on like successful people and optimal health. And it always shows examples of like, people at the top of their field, like athletes or CEOs, and like how they are, what they do. And if we were to, even though we're not CEOs or, famous athletes or whatever, if we actually just treat ourselves like we have to be at our best, we have to like be at our peak, we have to treat ourselves as if we were like someone that's getting paid millions of dollars to do their job, and take ourselves that seriously. Because I think part of the problem is we don't take ourselves that seriously, because we're like, oh, I'm nobody, I'm just doing this little thing, and I don't have to like do everything possible to make sure that I can show up 100% and I can get the job done.
So absolutely. I will say the one thing is that when I do take the time to shift out of all the other stuff that's going on into what I feel really resonates with me, everything changes. So that's what keeps me coming back to, like, I feel better. Everything else melts into the background.
Does anyone else hear that, or is that just me? Okay. You had some like crazy echoing going on.
And so
oh goodness.
When I do that,
oh man,
sounds a little bit like Twin Peaks.
You know that this bit. What was that?
Your voice was like doing crazy things.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself.
No.
No, I'm good.
I think it's your computer. It's not like what you were saying. Your computer was doing some weird Twilight Zone stuff. But I hear you, and I hear what you're saying, and that's the thing. It's like there will be so many things that come up, and so many things that will, and again, it can be like our own inner resistance, our own just self-limiting beliefs, and just even life stuff that comes up. And this is a battle that we will have to fight. And, it's the same author, Stephen Pressfield, who wrote The War of Art, which is this like war that we're at to be able to do our art or do our dharma. And it's something that, we have to always be up against. But realizing that if we just stay, again, like focused on the highest, focus on the one thing, connected to our visions, and if we just keep bringing ourselves back, and it's like, one of my Sanskrit teacher, and she always talked about, here's the line, and we want to be right like in the middle, and life will like pull us away, and we'll just have to like bring ourselves back, and it'll pull us away, and we'll have to bring ourselves back, and it'll pull us, and life is that. It's like constantly like pulling ourselves back. And the more we keep doing that as a practice, the less far we stray from that center line. Like we stray a little bit, but it's like not so far, and then we can bring ourselves back a little bit easier each time. But it's like a whole new way of relating to yourself, of taking yourself really seriously, of like, going pro, in his words, or acting as if like we are that star athlete or CEO or whatever of our world, which we are, of our business, if we have our business, and act as if. So yeah. Aaron. Hi.
Hey, getting up earlier, I was doing pretty good until I felt kind of sick. And
Your man cold?
My man cold. Don't mind about it. But then, so this morning I was up at 5:45 again, so I was happy about that.
Nice. Good work.
Back at it. Yeah, and then eating lighter in the evenings, even though it's challenging sometimes when you're working food and beverage.
Right.
Your shift, you're like, I have to eat now.
Yeah, totally.
But it's like salads or just something smaller, and don't overdo it. So
Good.
Which is good.
Yeah, and you've got like, that big obstacle of not only your work hours, but the whole culture that you're in, like with the restaurant business, and how that's
and
like
wine.
and wine and restaurant business, which is so goes against everything that we're working on here as far as like lifestyle. Just, like waking up early, going to bed early, eating early. So, and that makes things so much harder is, when we're just not surrounded by other people that are on the same track, which is so, why this container of this course is so important.
Yes.
But
shifting me to a different career.
Yes.
My old career, I should say.
Yeah, or your new one.
Shh. Sorry.
That's
Going
okay.
to the house. My roommate.
No
the
problem.
dog.
But again, it's like we can be less influenced by that. The more connected we are, again, with like our desires and what, like being so sure of like what we want, that it doesn't matter what's happening outside of us. Like we just can stay focused.
And I'm trying to, I'm getting off the caffeine too. So
Awesome.
Huge part of it.
Yeah.
Adrenals. So,
Nice. Oh yeah, totally. Good for you.
Yeah.
Go slow. That's my advice there.
I've switched to green tea.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's what I did, and I basically stayed at green tea, stayed at matcha.
Yeah, matcha's probably my staple.
Yeah, good. Awesome.
Me too. Awesome.
All right. Yay, thanks. And Andrea. Oh wait. Uh-oh. Hold on.
I got it. Oh, whoops.
There. You got it. Go for it.
I guess basically this morning, sorry, there's some like children screaming in the background.
Dogs, kids,
Basically I've been pretty good at adhering to the getting up early. I've been getting up at 5 minutes past 5 every morning. I need to make it to 5 o'clock. I really have to in order to, because I need to shower at just after 5:30 every morning and get going with my day. So that's been good though. I've been pretty, except for weekends, I kind of let that fall off then. But I had a big aha moment, which I think if some of you have seen Facebook, or it was about decluttering.
Yeah.
I'm a huge minimalist and I declutter all the time. And I just avoid all my music stuff. For many, many years, I lived as a musician, and I left that to go to teaching full time about 10 years ago, and kind of had children, and then got married, had children, bought a house, let all that sort of fall, finished my final CD when I was pregnant with my first, and then just let it all fall away. And I decided to finally deal with some of my music stuff. And I was not able to be the heartless, sort of,
Well, no, it's not. You don't have to be heartless.
Not heartless, but normally I'm just, I don't know what the right word is for it, but I'm just able to just let go of things like that. And I went through and found my old like flamenco guitar books and my old classical Indian vocal books and realized this isn't who I am anymore. And I can't even read this stuff. So why am I holding on to it? It actually made me feel bad, if that makes sense. It made me feel like a failure, which is weird.
Totally.
Like,
well, that's,
something I let go of, like
I know what you mean.
what happened to that. And and I did, for the first time ever, held it to my heart and said, thank you. And then let go of it. But the funny thing was I just felt so free. It's almost like I'm going through a rebirth right now.
Yeah.
And I've been avoiding music because I feel guilty. I write and I never finish anything ever since, sort of making this big switch in my life.
Yeah.
And so I set up my music room. I'm not done yet. I have to restring the guitars, but I feel like going through this is actually going to help me to let go of who I was.
Yes.
And move on.
Totally.
And so that was really big because I didn't realize decluttering would help me with that.
Well, she says that specifically in the book. She says it's putting your past in order.
Yeah.
That's the decluttering process, is putting your past in order. So, it's like requires that we go into the harder, we have to go all the way in.
Yeah. It was really
and stuff. It
huge.
be like, not a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to say to Madeline, I totally know what you're talking about. And after spending 10 years kind of following my passion, it can be sometimes harder to follow your passion than to just do your day job. Do you know what I mean? Or just do the things that you're used to doing. So hang in there, because sometimes it really is the hardest thing to do of all. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm feeling you.
Yeah. Oh, good. Awesome. That's great. All right. And Shauna.
Hey guys. Cool. Can you guys hear me okay? Because there's a lot of noise in the studio. So if you hear like banging the noises, cool. Okay. And I'm getting used to Zoom. Last week I had a mastermind meeting and I pushed a button and like everyone's heads went like all over the place. So I kind of want to push another button right now, but I'm scared because I can only see half of the class.
So the top, it looks like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, the gallery view.
Yeah, no speaker. Okay. Oh yeah, gallery view.
Okay, I'm going to touch it and then I'm going to see what happens and then hopefully I don't mess everything up. Oh yay! Okay, good. I can see everyone.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I've been really working on my languaging to myself. So if I say like I always do something, or this is my pattern, or this is the way I am, then I'm trying to try not to say that and like correcting myself. Awesome. So I find myself saying those things, and then I'll just backtrack and say like, that's how I used to be, and how do I want to be now?
Nice.
And then I'm working with my time management. Actually, like a lot of other people have expressed, is just I'm studying and writing a lot of essays right now and getting this program done, and so it's just making sure that I'm taking the time, like I'm sitting for long periods of time, but then I look out the window and it's gorgeous out. So I want to go out and move, but then I come back and then I stay focused. So,
nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay focused.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I have the drive I did a couple months ago, because I feel like I'm burning out, and I'm just right at the end of the program. And then I just have I'm just like reaching from the bottom just to keep going and keep it alive. And yeah, but it's
I think it's important though to when there's a lot going on, we want to like know what's the most important thing that I need to make sure is happening, so that I'm not actually gonna burn out. So we might not be able to do everything perfectly as far as like our healthy habits or our daily routine, like that we would like to in an ideal world, but understanding like what the keystone habit is. So so those of you who've taken Align and Thrive, this concept of keystone habit. So keystone, and I'll just say it for those that aren't aware, keystone is the habit, or a keystone is a stone in architecture that, an arch. It's the stone that holds the whole arch in place. And basically a keystone habit is the habit that holds you in place. It's the habit that holds you together. And so we need to know like what it is for each one of it. Like, what is it, like the one thing that if this thing happens, everything else falls into place. But if this doesn't happen, everything falls apart. And so I know for me, it's sleep. Like if I don't get sleep, everything falls apart. I don't wake up early. I don't do my morning routine. I don't, get my meditation in. I don't get enough exercise in, which means I usually just make poor choices during the day. I don't, feel as good. My mood's not as good. I don't have as much energy. I mean, it's like a whole downward spiral if it doesn't happen, as opposed to like, if I got this, then I can handle everything else. So as we, go through these habits that for some of you it's new, or if it's Align and Thrive, it's review. Like, what is it? Like, do you need to have is it like the earlier, lighter dinner, or is it waking up early, or is it like you got to exercise in the morning, or is it your meditation practice, or is it, making sure you eat certain foods, or what is it for you? So we should all start to get really, really clear on what that is, so that when you have to let almost everything go, you hold on to one thing. And what's that one thing? So what do you feel like, what's your one thing? Your key step?
Oh, it's getting outside.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that.
So you make sure you have those little like recharge your batteries.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky because I live right in the middle of the woods. So it's like I step out my front door, and I mean, that's more my house than my house.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky that way. And then my runner up would be eating a big lunch. So if I don't eat a big lunch, then I feel like I can't focus or function well. Yeah. So it's like, okay, make sure, because you want to, when we have to put a lot of effort and energy into other things, it's like, make sure you're putting like at least what is required to make sure those things happen. So make sure what is required so that you eat your lunch, and then you're taking your breaks to go outside or whatever. Yeah. Because you don't want to burn out, because that's really, the foundation of everything is our health and our self-care and our habits. So it's like it's not worth it to sacrifice your health for anything, because you won't be able to do anything else. But there are times when life requires that. We have to dip into our ojas a little bit. That's it. And I know this isn't going to be forever. That's another thing that's a different perspective I have right now, is like, it's just the next actually week and a half, and then it's all going to be finished, and it's just going to be this feeling of amazing relief. And then the experience has been unbelievable. It's just been such a cool experience. And so just kind of the crux, and then like I'll just be flying after that. Cool. Good. All right, thanks. And Linda. Hi.
This week I've been in Edmonton nannying my 3.5-year-old and 1.5-year-old, because my son got a job in Ontario. I think I was telling you before, he got a job in Ontario, Thunder Bay. He's leaving on the 9th of November. So I'm here this week with the family so that they can go and do all the things to prepare for the move. So it's really given me the opportunity to sit back. And what I did was I went back to your very first email and started clicking on all your webinars and all your listen to this and all of that. And I went through, and week 2 has resonated me with so much this week. That Equilibrium Zero webinar. Yeah. Wow. So being that I'm not at home, because you talk about inbox zero and desktop zero, home base zero, project zero. Yeah. So this week I've been able to do the inbox zero because I'm here with my laptop, and I thought, great, okay, perfect. Babies are in bed by 7 o'clock. I've been in bed by 9 because I'm exhausted. Yeah, like 14,000 steps by 7 o'clock today already. But anyways, I've been able to. What a good feeling it's been. I got through all my emails.
Nice.
I emptied my boxes. I set up the folders like you suggested
Great.
to do, archive and
Yeah.
deal with later and refer
Yeah.
to somebody else and action and all that stuff. And this morning it was like, wow, now when I listen to the webinar tonight, I just feel good about this first time I've really felt, the first day I really felt like I've accomplished something, because the whole decluttering thing just makes me anxious to the point where I can't go there yet. And I don't know what's holding me back in everything I try, whether it's my books or my clothes or my, whatever it is, I just start and I just freeze. But when I read this, I thought, okay, this is a good place to start.
Okay.
I'll start with my emails, let them all go. Then when I get home, it'll be my kitchen counter because I got everything all over there. My desk is the worst. It's just little notes people have written me that I think are cute and all this stuff all over my desk and pictures. And I just gotta, it's slow, but I'm working.
That's okay. And again, like I said, it's just start and then go down the list, go in order, because there's an order, there's a sequence to, like, you don't start with the memorabilia, you don't start with the sentimental stuff. You start at just your clothes, and then just, again, resistance, notice the resistance, notice it for resistance, but don't let it take over you. Like, don't let it stop you. Don't let it hold you back.
Yeah.
Just keep moving
eating
forward.
the earlier dinners, that's easy for me. The early to bed's been great because I'm here. We're up at 5:30 every morning because that's when the girls wake up. That's been easy.
Yeah.
But I'm like Shauna, my go-to to keep me grounded is I got to get out. I got to get out, get some fresh air, go for a good long walk, and then I come back, and no matter where I come back to, whether it's back to work or back to home or back to whatever, I feel like I have this calm about me, and I can handle anything they throw at me. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Good. Nice to
How's
hear.
Bali?
Awesome.
I came in a little bit late on the call. You probably told everybody about it already. I was a bit.
I just
on the
showed
call,
up.
but
I'm on my little veranda on the rice fields, and it's beautiful.
okay. Someplace I haven't been yet. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I know. I wish you guys were here with me. That would be so fun.
I know. Hey.
All right. So Haley.
Hi there.
Hi.
I feel like there's always one person in these group settings to make everyone else feel better about their situations, and I think I'm that person. I'm like, oh, you guys, like the sleep thing and all that. I'm like, okay, well, don't worry, you guys. If you guys
have like a 12-week-old baby, so you're excused.
Well, he's pretty good. He's here with me now, but he's doing okay. But yeah, and I've always been really organized. And that's kind of my thing, is I find that if I don't, like other people were saying, getting outside, getting out the door, I have to keep my schedule. I actually went back to work as well. So we're out the door by 6:30 in the morning. So my mornings look a little different than most people. So I feel like if I had to do everything that I wanted to, I'd have to get up at 4, which is just out of the question.
No. Yeah, you don't want to.
But yeah, it's
what's one?
My biggest struggle is me time.
What's one win, or one thing that's going well? Just one.
Here, I'm just gonna pass off a baby here.
Yeah.
No. I finally got the opportunity. Okay. Yeah. So my struggle is carving out time for myself, obviously, but just kind of communicating it, I suppose.
Asking for some help, or?
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. Really bad.
Right. So again, right there, I was talking to Shauna about this before, of, I'm really bad about that. It's like your identity is around, I'm not good at asking for support. So your behaviors are going to support that belief, because you'll just, you're not good at it. So that kind of, it's almost like a little bit of an excuse. We can be like, I'm just not good at that. So it's
a self-defeating thing, right?
Yeah. So,
and I think I look at the situation and I'm like, oh, it's not that important. When I look at the bigger picture, I kind of go, oh, well, I can kind of lower my priorities. But the success in this is that I've had 3 times this week that I've made sure that it's my time is my time.
Good.
So
congratulations. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a first.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's it's going to feel really hard, really awkward, really uncomfortable. We're going to have all these doubts of oh, it's not going to work, or it's going to not be received well, or I'm going to regret it, or whatever, all that stuff. But it's like, you just have to keep doing it. And awesome. And you did it 3 times. Like, that's great.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone pays the price if I'm not okay.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the keystone of my entire house.
Yeah. You will.
Right?
The
So
mother is like the midline. It's if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
I see it. We all pay the price.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I know that there's a lot of work I have to do, but
that's okay. We all do. But yeah, I think it's like, first just letting go of that self-defeating thought of I'm not good at it, and I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm doing it. I'm asking for support. Like, recognize those successes when you actually do it, and just keep repeating.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Awesome. Fiona. Uh-oh.
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just supposed to be talking about, because I've been running around.
Yeah, just share like a success that you've had, or something that you're doing based on the course, like something that is working from what you've learned in the course so far, or what you're working, or what
Okay, so I think that my biggest thing is my work has been really very, very, very stressful in the last few weeks. And so this week I had a huge thing that I was doing, and I had to tell myself that I had to behave myself at all times. And what that made. So I made sure that I meditated, and I actually got back to my grid diary to remind me of like 3 things that I might like about my work right now, and 3 things that's going well in my home life.
Nice.
And I think probably that is the keystone thing for me.
Awesome.
Is just really meditating and getting out, of course, exercise, but that's that I know that really keeps me grounded. So, and it worked.
Awesome.
I made it.
Nice. Good work. Yay. Good to hear. Keep it up.
Thanks. Yeah.
And Julie.
Yes. I have been going to bed early, I think, is the main thing I've been doing. So
good.
And also clearing out the clutter. Like clothes. I've just only attacked clothes so far.
Good.
So, yeah. But yes, I actually went to a clothing swap on the weekend, so that worked out really well.
Oh, good. Got rid of some, got new ones.
Yeah, not as much as I get rid of though.
Okay, good. As long as it sparks joy. Again, it's like not necessarily, being a minimalist per se. It's just making sure that what we do have sparks joy. And it can be, we each have different ideas of like how much stuff do I want to own? Like, and it's like, there's no right or wrong answer. It's like, we don't have to all just have a few things. But as long as
I have a lot of things that don't spark me joy still. I know there's a lot, even though I don't have that much stuff, I still know that there's a lot. I just haven't had time, but I definitely know I can cut back more for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just keep going and just keep moving forward. Just keep small baby steps, slowly.
Yeah.
Going through category by category. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And Shauna, Kelly.
I'm kind of like Julie. Like I've just been making sure that my keystone is sleep. So getting to bed on time, and the decluttering. Like I actually worked on it a bit yesterday and freed up a whole drawer in my dresser,
nice.
And I was like running around my room
going,
what I can do with it.
Awesome.
So, and not beating myself up. Like I'm pretty busy right now, and November's going to be pretty ugly for me, but I'm not panicking about it. And I'm just sort of, sticking with what I can. And if I miss something, I'm not getting down on myself and then throwing my hands up and walking away sort of thing. I'm just saying, okay, well, keep at it. So
yeah. Good. Good. Nice work. And Stephanie. Hi. Oh, wait. There.
Thanks for doing that for me. So my main, I guess, new habit adoption is, sorry, I'm knitting here. Is going to sleep early. It's been very helpful. I think I was just ready, and at one point, it actually came up in the very first document share that I had with you regarding like, okay, what does your ideal daily plan look like, or weekly plan? And as you guys know, and especially the mastermind group knows, I'm really working towards, time efficiency and kind of this ethereal idea of planning, because it's still very ethereal to me. So the, going to bed early, I think you had recommended, Donna, you were like, well, it kind of goes against, the Ayurvedic clock if you're going to work at night. And I had this idea in my head that that's the only time that I could do it. And even knowing that it might not be the most ideal. So anyway, it's so nice when it's easy, when you're ready to receive the change. And it just must have been time for me, because it's like, it's ain't no thing.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for that. I mean, for now, who knows if that will shift, but right now it feels very easy. And I'm even like, it's funny, I can feel my energy very low, much lower than normally is, because, over where we are, it's, when I say we, Becca and I,
right.
It's 9:30.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm really ready for bed, man.
Good. Yeah.
But
that's, yeah, you want to feel
I've just been, what did you say? I'm sorry.
You want to feel like like at 9:30.
Yeah, right. So when I'm just automatically waking up, I'm not waking up to an alarm, but it's so different because I'm just a little bit more, like I'm not waking up to my kids at 7:30. I'm not feeling the anxiety of like seeing that at 6:30, seeing that I'm tired still and sleeping in another 10 minutes. I'm just like getting up without anything at 5:30. So that's been nice. The thing I think that I'm working towards and trying to become a master of my own morning now, is kind of planning out the night before, how I'm going to utilize that time in the morning. Because what I'm finding, and this is why I used to be very good at working at night, because I'm a very pitta, I'm probably a pretty typical pitta vata. And that pitta time at night, I'm just focused, I'm clear, I'm able to just dive in there, but I'm not able to then go to sleep until 2 in the morning.
Right.
So what I'm finding is the vata in me at 5 a.m. is I just float right out that window. Like if I don't have the grounding of like a schedule, I get into my yoga practice, and on the mat, I've been slowly, like incrementally recommitting to having a rhythm around like my practices, my yoga, my meditation.
Right.
Right now it's homeschool planning. So I've been incrementally adding 2 to 5 minutes to that, and it's starting to become the schedule that I want it to be, but I just have to watch that, because if it's not planned out, I go places. Like I'll sit in a meditation and I won't come back for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So
maybe like
that's our map.
Keystone-ish, like that, the planning, like making sure that you're making.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good. Nice work.
And I'm so yeah, thanks.
All right. And Becca, I think that's you. That is, oops, shoot. Yeah. That is on the phone. Becca?
Hi. Can you guys hear me, or am I muted?
No, you're good. Oh, now you're muted. Hold on. Okay. I'll let you do it. Do it again. You're still unmuted. Unmute. There.
Okay. How about Unmuted. They just told me. The computer told me you are unmuted. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Let's see. I feel like, what are we at, week 3? I feel like week 2, I was starting to hit a good stride, and then this week, I'm not anywhere. I don't even know where the wagon is right now, but I'm confident that I will find it again. But what's interesting is that I've just been feeling really good this week. So I think that I was thinking about this as folks were talking and kind of resonating with what Madeline was saying about easily being pulled away from making my own time for the, the entrepreneurial projects or the self-care even. But anyway, I feel like I'm in this place where like the seed has cracked open and I'm ready to start moving toward the light, but I haven't done it yet. That's how I'm feeling right now. But it's like, it feels like a positive place because I've also been just sort of just feeling like I'm really happy where I am, and like things are going well, even though they're not exactly organized or what I want them to be yet. So I think even just the clarity of knowing that I'm going toward where I want to be going has been powerful. That was a long-winded way of saying that.
Well, I think, and
so thank you.
And savoring that you're feeling good and just like allowing yourself to feel that and enjoy it and to let that sink in. Because I think sometimes, even if we're feeling good, but then we feel like we should be doing something, it like pulls us out of that really great experience. And what's the point of that?
For sure. Yeah. And it's also been like some conscious choices. Like I was just telling my husband this earlier, like when I'm driving around, I've been purposely pretending that I'm in a different country because when I travel, I pay attention to what's around me in a very different way than I do when I'm at home.
Yeah.
And so just like it's been bringing me back into the present and more aware and like more embodied in all of my senses. And I think that that's been helping as well. So,
awesome.
And I know that my keystone thing is to go to bed early, and I would say I've been, 50% good at that. And the good thing is my husband has to get up at 5:30 in the morning for work, and our little guy is starting to go to sleep earlier than he used to. So I think that that's going to be possible in the next couple of weeks that I'll get back into that routine.
Yeah.
But I would say we've also had some family. And so, yeah.
Yeah, but I would say,
Go ahead.
Like we can't. Like you can't rely on your husband or your son, to make you kind of move into those habits. Like you gotta like take initiative. Because again, it's like, you wanna, if there's resistance there, if that's not like your habit or, for whatever reason, but recognizing like why that's important and why you want to start doing that, so that, because if it's like, just when it kind of happens naturally because of the circumstances around us, like you're not fully taking charge.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I would just say, just don't wait for those things, but do, and again, it's just all we're asking.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, they're already doing it. I have to do it, and I have to like, the other piece, like what Stephanie was saying, is I have the same thing. Like it's suddenly the house has settled and I'm like, okay, now I can do my stuff, which I know it's like I'm making myself walk away from technology and plug my phone in downstairs, not upstairs, and all that kind of stuff. It helps me when I actually do it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it does take a little bit of a shift in perspective, especially if it's like previously it was, oh, that's my time to like work on my stuff or catch up or whatever that is. And then it's like, oh, it almost feels like, oh, now I don't get to do the things I want to do or the things that, and it can feel almost like a punishment. Well, it can feel like going against what we really want, even though it's like what we should be doing, so to speak. And that doesn't really work because that we can't really sustain that that's kind of like using willpower. And we know willpower doesn't work, but it's a whole shift in like how you see your evenings is like, okay, how can you, instead of the catch up, can it be like doing something deeply nourishing or relaxing or restorative or enjoyable, pleasurable, but not stimulating, like just seeing it. Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, and I think the final thing that I sort of want to mention that I'm learning about and realizing actually just as we're all talking right now is that I work as a consultant and both of my clients are on the West Coast. And so there's a certain amount of me that like is the pleaser and the do-gooder. And so I end up checking email later because they're still working. And so just being a couple of times I've been more clear and firm in my boundaries about when I'm available and when I'm not. And so that's just, I have to move past the wanting to be perfect into the wanting to sustain myself.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's like, yeah, the whole perfectionism thing can really, that's, I think, a thing that so many of us had of either for other people or for ourselves, and that can just really hold us back. But yeah, just being able to identify it and see that, and good that you're actually starting to set those boundaries. And yeah, but it can be.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So yeah, so we are entering into, well, I keep thinking we're already, because I kind of planned out all the lessons already through November. So we're finishing up this month one, and this month one is, again, just all about dialing in our daily healthy habits, and so that we can build a really strong foundation for being able to do more with our world. And again, it's because we want to free up energy and free up mind space, because we don't want to be making the decisions, like I talked about before, of when to go to bed, when to wake up, when to eat, when and if to exercise, when and if to do all these different things. You want to move habits into automation so that they are just happening, so that you don't make the decision, so that you can free up all that mind space for the more important, bigger dharma that, we want to be doing. So the name of the game is like repeat, 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 until it's like brushing your teeth every day. You just do it no matter what. And so there's resistance in the beginning to creating those new habits and patterns, and that is to be expected, and it's just to be noted and keep, again, recommitting again and again and again. And so the path is never straight, and it's sometimes 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But it's a recommitment, and it's, again, like taking that bigger perspective of, and I just keep coming back to this idea of like taking yourself really seriously and making sure that you know that what you have to offer is really significant, like no matter what it is, whether it's like, in your own business or in your life or in, the job that you're working, or like you need to do everything you can so that you can be at your best, and as if you were being paid millions of dollars a year to be at your peak. So I really think that if we can just start to move into that perspective, it will make all the difference. And it's like, we want to make the problems that we have bigger problems, because sometimes we get so caught up in like the little problems, and then our life becomes really small. And so the bigger the problems, the more the small things are like nothing. They're just insignificant. So the bigger problems is like what we're here to do in the world, like the dharma that we are here to, our bigger purpose. And, this doesn't only apply to if you are an entrepreneur or not, but it's like, what is, whether it is just raising an awesome family with really like rock star kids, or if it is like creating a business where you're changing people's lives, or if it's like, inspiring people or healing people or whatever it is. But like focus on like the bigger things, like what you are here, what is trying to happen through you. Like what are you trying, what's the dharma that's trying to emerge, and what we'll do in our like small lives when we have the small, like the little bitty problems, is that like we're blocking the bigger thing, the bigger dharma, from being able to emerge, because we're just holding ourselves back with all the petty stuff. And so you want to be more of a conduit of like, what's trying to happen through me and how can I get out of my way? And that means like not letting the resistance take over. And so that I can just focus on what is, you know, the bigger things that I need to be in service of. So I'm here in Bali, and the retreat is all about the stories of the Hindu gods and goddesses. And I love the stories because they're really colorful. They're totally entertaining. They're really kind of, you know, just funny, like crazy characters. And, you know, they're like fairy tales, but the teachings are so deep and so profound. And really it's, you know, the teachings reflect a lot of the philosophical teachings of yoga. But it is, you know, all the teachings are about receiving, you know, the gifts that you have, the talents that you have. And this month, as we move into November, we're going to be talking a lot about Dharma, and really, like, as we look at our stories, starting to see, like, what are the gifts that I have to offer? Like, what are the unique things that only I can do, that only I am like the perfect person to do this thing. And so how can we receive that fully, get out of our own way, and refine these gifts, cultivate these gifts, and then ultimately make them an offering into the world, because it's all in greater service. But the irony is that, like, our Dharma, like doing our Dharma, is actually, we not only benefit the most, but the world does too. So it's kind of like a win-win for everyone. There's even, recently I was listening to a podcast that was, and I think I maybe put that, I think I posted that somewhere. It was in one of the weeks, but how, like, when you're not doing your Dharma, it affects your health. And so our health supports being able to do our Dharma. Like, when we're healthy, we have the energy, we gain the inspiration, we get the downloads of what we're supposed to be doing. And then when we're doing that, it then in turn supports our health. Oops. Let me see this. There's a chat here. I can't find it. The button. Hold on. Don't want to miss the conversation here. Chat. Yes. Stephanie, I've been in the middle of that right now. Where this is ultimately a smaller problem that's showing up. Here, I'll just unmute you and you can just talk about that for a second. Okay.
Sorry, it was a little late.
No, go ahead.
Does anyone else run into that? I'm like typing and listening at the same time, and I'm like, wait. But thanks.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of ran into that today. What you were talking about just a minute or two ago. This, you know, quote unquote problem, and I even phrased it. So one thing, actually, let me do a quick share here. Another thing I've picked up that I'm really excited about in this program and to our weekly, you know, as we're building here, in Do Your Dharmas, I've been writing every day. And it's been a commitment I've been asking of myself for years now. So I've been writing 10 minutes a day. James Clear, one of his webinars, is very helpful in that. But anyway, so that's an aside, but yay, I'm excited. Nice. In writing, I actually wrote about this problem that I kept running into today. I referred to it as like this really big opportunity that actually isn't a problem at all. That really, it's like, I think I phrased it as a relationship that I'm like a conversation that I'm having inside of myself, which really began as a conversation with someone else first. Does that make sense? So it was this, you know, thing that was rising up with an interaction and a relationship outside of myself. But then I realized in my response that the internal conversation, right, the little self was cropping up. And I was like, well, wait a second. I just had these new eyes about it. How could I look at anything inside myself as a problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, because if I am, right, where is that going to lead me? So I think there was just this little aha moment where the internal conversation was like, oh, this is a real big gift here. You know, like this is a real big gift to look at this as an opportunity for real growth. And it's really, a bigger relationship. So I don't know, I might be straying off what you're saying a little bit, but it just, when you were saying it was resonating with me, okay, this is just this kind of outer relationship is this small problem that's actually a part of something bigger in some way that I need to, okay? So it's like actually a part of something much bigger than this one or two interactions, small interactions. And I realized that when I found it inside myself, that the inner judge and all these other less favorable things were coming up, I was like, oh, okay, so this is much bigger than that. But it was good. Like, I think I'm emotionally exhausted. That's part of the reason I am where I am right now, and tired. But it's like relief, if that makes any sense, because I'm like, oh, I just had a real big aha. So I'm very excited to see what's going to manifest tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm kind of ready for today to be over. But I just wanted to share what you were saying. I was like, right, exactly where I am. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think you're also bringing up something else, is that, you know, the problems aren't problems at all, because the problems are opportunities. And, you know, we want to always orient towards that perspective. And that's, again, such a teaching in yoga and the stories that keeps coming up, is that, you know, yesterday was all about Ganesh. Ganesh is the elephant-headed deity who's the remover of obstacles, but he's also the placer of obstacles. He puts the obstacles there because the obstacles are opportunities for our own growth and transformation, and we want to receive them as such and cultivate a growth mindset, so that, you know, we don't see the obstacles, like going back to Madeline, is like, you know, as signs that we shouldn't be doing this, or signs that we're not equipped, or we don't have what it takes, or, you know, but instead of like, this is actually like, thank you, because now I have an opportunity to grow. and this is actually a gift. And so we do want to embrace everything, like say yes, you know, that's another, like tantric, it's like, say yes to whatever arises, because it's always, we can always use it for food, for growth. And another great part of the teachings is that, so we talked about Ganesh, he's the elephant-headed one, and he has a broken tusk, and he uses his tusk in many ways throughout the different stories. And it's like, we use the broken parts of ourselves to write our stories, and we use them as, again, opportunities. Like, we think of these broken parts of ourselves as obstacles often, and things that might hold us back, or ways that we are flawed. But in fact, those are exactly the things that we need to become like the greatest expression of ourselves. And this is, you know, why we want to write our stories, because it's exactly the hard part, or the hard things that we've gone through in our lives that have made us who we are. And that's exactly the things that make us relatable to the people that we ultimately want to connect with. And especially those of us that, you know, have our own business, it's like, we learned what we learned, and we have the gifts that we have because of the things that we've had to go through. And so that's such a gift. Like, had we not had the challenges in our lives and the troubles in our lives, and had to actually get to the other side of them, like, we wouldn't have had to cultivate all the strength and the gifts and the things that we've had to cultivate in order to get through all that. So, you know, our stories and owning every part, and, you know, going into the shadow parts of ourselves and the dark parts, and really like owning every part, and willing to be vulnerable in our sharing of those things, is really like, we want to be able to just go there. And it's such a practice, because it's, again, there's so much stuff around that, of like feeling shame, or feeling like how that somehow makes us inadequate or not as good. It's like when I, you know, a couple years ago, when I found out I had a skin autoimmune disease, and I was like, I'm a health coach. Like, I can't be flawed. I can't be like not in perfect health. Like, I'm the expression of perfect health. And like, what if everyone sees that I'm not perfect in my health? Like, how is that going to come across? But when I actually shared that, I wrote a blog post because I was like, no, I'm going to take a stand for being vulnerable, as like scary as that is. I'm actually going to like make this public. So I wrote a blog post called Confessions of a Yoga Health Coach. And I was like, I basically talked about that. And so many people responded and were like, me too. Like, I'm a chiropractor and my back's all screwed up. And I'm also like a nutritionist and I'm like totally addicted to bad food and, all these different things. And, but, we teach what we have to learn. But again, being relatable, like sharing our stories, sharing all our vulnerabilities and fully owning that, like, because I had to, I have that, I've had to learn a lot more about autoimmune issues, and like I had to explore deeper into, diet, and because I was also determined to get to the other side of it. And it's like the things that were like, I'm determined to like move through it, not suppress it, not ignore it, but like move through and get to the other side and make this actually an opportunity for my own growth and my own learning, and maybe something that I can ultimately share, and so that I can help someone else in the same situation. And so keep that in mind when you move into the tell your story stuff that's coming, and being able to actually tell your story is a whole other gift of like, and that's something for those of you that are entrepreneurs, is something that you really want to refine, of like being able to tell your story, and in a very like public way, but in a way that makes people connect. And it means like going into like the bottom, like the dip, like that moment where, it's like the hero's journey, and then being able to like come out and see what was the transformation, and then being able to then take people through that transformation. So any questions?
Donna, I would just want to, this is Becca.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment. I heard you say, especially the entrepreneurs, and then what you just said, which was beautiful and wonderful. But I think everybody, like if parents were that honest and forward, and if our friends, and if like all humans showed up in that way, we'd be in a different place. So I just want to invite all of us to that, not just the entrepreneurs among us. I
totally agree. Thank you for that. I completely agree. Yeah, I know. It's like, I wish my mom could be a little bit more vulnerable and maybe share, but it's, I think so many of us feel like we have to like have it all together and, have it all right and have it all figured out. And the more we can actually be like, I don't know. And I don't know. But this is like something that I've gone through. And this is what I learned from it. But I think some of us feel like we have to, we can't be vulnerable. Do you want to expand on that at all, Becca? Or? Becca?
Sorry, I was muted. No, I guess, am I there still?
Yeah. Yep.
Hi. No, I mean, I think the one thing that's coming up for me is when in our yoga teacher training, one of the things that folks talked about was, if you can, like you talked about, with coming through to the other side of your health journey there, whatever journey it is, that being vulnerable is essential, but it's essential sort of after you've walked through it.
Yes.
When you're in that kind of a situation where you're holding that position of what could be perceived as power, but isn't necessarily, when you're holding the space for others, I guess I would say. And so just like, that's what makes this kind of time that we're giving ourselves right now so important and powerful, is that we are kind of churning and holding the space for each other, and then we will end up on another side of it and be able to share those stories in a vulnerable way that makes us more present and invites others to do the same.
That's a really good point. Like if it is something you're sharing in a public way, don't tell the story when you're in it. Tell the story after you've gone through it and come out the other side. Because what happens when you share, when you're right entrenched in the midst of it, like in the depth of the muddy waters, people just want to help you. They just feel bad for you, and they are, all of a sudden it becomes about you. And the thing about our story is it's absolutely not about us. It's not about us at all. Like, you're telling your story for other people to then look at their own story and learn from that, and learn about themselves through your story. Because if it's about you, it's about like, oh, you know, I'm going through this and this sucks and I'm having such a hard time. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, like, so we need shoulders to cry on, and we need people that we can talk to when we're right in the middle of things, for sure. And that's, you know, you're right, Becca, this is a place for that. Like, we have each other, we have, you know, our families, our friends. But yeah, it's absolutely, it's an offering. Like, ultimately our story is for other people. It's in service of others, which is why it's so important that we share it, because it's so that other people can learn about themselves. But yeah, so that's an important distinction to make, of like, when you're sharing it, make sure you've gotten to the other side. You've come out the other side, and you have completed the transformation, and then you can share like the dip, but then also the, like, you know, the hero's journey, the full thing. And then, you know, when you're in the middle of it, there's times where it's appropriate to share and times where it's places that it's not. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Yeah, you're not doing the work not only for yourself, you're doing it for all of us. Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's like, we can't let resistance get in the way, because like, we're just actually stealing from everyone else if we are like holding ourselves back, because we just, you know, we're not continuing to stay focused on the most important thing, the thing that we are truly here to do. Any thoughts? Any questions? Any, yeah, Shauna.
Yeah. McGowan. Yeah. I was just thinking that when we do tell our story, that we are giving other people hope too, because if they're in the midst of it and they're in that rushing river and they don't have perspective, then you're giving, like you said, you're giving the perspective on the shore or on the other side. So when you're right in the middle of something, it's like if you're like, say you got caught in a river and you're smashing through and you're smashing on the rocks and you keep, you know, bobbing up, but then you bob down, like you don't have that same perspective when you have someone finishing it and they're on the shore and they're calling to you and you're like, okay, swim a little bit to the right or swim a little bit to the left. Okay, you can do it, you know? Yeah. And I like what Stephanie said too about like, it's where I have this quote I keep saying to myself every day, is that we're all in this together. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, I feel like sometimes I take the weight of like certain issues that have come up, and then I think it's like I have to solve and I have to figure it out myself. But yeah, it's not the case. It's like we're all in this together, and there's so many helping hands and so many people who've gone through it that I could just lean on.
But I think you brought up absolutely, like, the purpose is to give people hope and to give people inspiration too. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you hear like really good storytellers tell their story of like how they, you know, kind of these rags to riches, you know, that's kind of like the common one. But it's like, it's inspiring. It's like, oh, if you can do it, maybe I can do it. Yeah, that hope that it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and it's important because sometimes we'll often like see just the end result of the story, like just the success part of it. Like and we just assume that like, they just have something special, or they're talented, or I don't have what they have that they could do that. But when you hear like, no, I actually started where you are. I was exactly where you were, dealing with all the same problems. And then I was able to like require the skills needed and to learn what I needed to learn to be able to come out the other side. And you know, if you're sharing those skills, like, and I can share that with you. I can help you. Yeah. So, yeah, but exactly. It's like the hope and inspiration. Yeah, Madeline. Oh, here, I'll let you guys do the meeting.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, you know, this journey of doing your dharma and finding your passion and what you're really here to do. And it always, like, for me, it's always been a sure way of knowing that I'm on track when I go back and look at the obstacles that I have overcome, or, you know, those really difficult times, especially the ones that are difficult to share with other people. Like, you know, all the parts where it's not comfortable being vulnerable, that usually leads me back to what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So I think you said like the obstacle is the way, or something like that. Like, so those little bumps or big bumps that you go through in my life, at least, always lead me back to, what am I trying to help other people do?
Yeah.
Well, it's exactly that. And I read this book called, it was about, the term onlyness. And you can only find your own onlyness looking at your very unique experience that no one else on this planet has ever had or ever will have. And it leads me right back to, you know, like right back to my dharma. Like, what am I trying to help other people do?
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
You know, being in their bodies, breathing, through anxiety. Like, it becomes very specific.
Yeah.
You know, getting out of their heads and into their bodies. Like that, because I was out of my body for, you know, like a lot of people most of my life. So let's get back in. And then I feel, okay, all right, got it.
Yeah, totally.
But it's a really good check and balance for me. When I start getting unfocused and on different things, back to what has been my experience, where I can speak authentically from experience, and people really resonate. They know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you've read a book about it, or if you've actually done it.
Right. I know. Yeah.
I mean, lived through it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's like our story of actually getting right into those hard parts and the obstacles, and like really looking at like the hardest things that we've gone through, because that's exactly that connection point. Like, it's not where we are now, it's where we were then. And like, that's what people, you know, because a lot of us have done a lot of work, and we've progressed a lot, we've learned a lot, we've grown a lot, we've gained so many tools, and we forget like where we were, and we forget that place where people 5 steps, 10 steps back were. And so they see us, and it's like unrelatable, and like, I could never do that, I could never be that, I don't have those skills, or, you know, and this could be even like going this, you know, even for parenting. It's like, yeah, I remember back when, you know, I was there and I was struggling and this was hard. And so, yeah, that finding that place, like that connection, that struggle, that obstacle. Yeah. And exactly. And that's what you're helping, like, yeah, what you're saying, Madeline, what you're helping people with is when it was rock bottom, when it was hard. Yeah. Shauna.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to say something that usually too, and I've noticed this about myself, usually when we want to help someone else with something, it's something we want to help ourselves with.
Yeah.
That's something, like Madeline said, like it's something she went, you know, it's a struggle that we've gone through ourselves. Because I find sometimes I want to help people achieve something, but it's really, it's like a real projection.
Oh yeah.
So it's really that I want to, like, it's just something inside of me. And it's funny you mentioned that about your mother being vulnerable. I had to actually, like, it was really very unpleasant, because I gave my mom a couple treatments, and we really don't share the same views or beliefs, and in a sense, like we do, but not in details. And I try to express with her, and so I want her to think the same way I think and feel the same way I feel. And she has a very difficult time being vulnerable with me, because she wants to be the mother.
Yeah.
And so so I just, like, I really wanted her to heal. And then I realized, like, and she doesn't want me to want her to heal, because she doesn't feel like she has to, and that's fair enough. But I feel like, well, maybe that's what I just have to do, is like just want to heal. Like, I shouldn't be like, I want my mom to heal, or I want my mom to feel this way, or I want to have my mom have this different perspective. But if I just live it, then she'll see it. And if she wants to adopt it, she'll adopt it.
Yeah, totally.
I wanted to say I have to go, because I have a meeting at 7:30, or no,
okay.
I'm gonna stop. I don't have a meeting, but I'll have to go a little bit earlier if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, yeah, no, totally. We can't change other people. I mean, and we should never even try. And, uh-oh, we're gonna back up.
Hold on.
There, okay. And that's why it's like the more we can just be ourselves and be authentic and share our story, the right people will learn what they need to learn from us. And we can't, and this is kind of going on a slightly different tangent, but like we can't ever impose anything on anyone else because it just won't be, it doesn't work. It usually never received well, whether that's family or friends or like people that we're trying to help. But we have to be so like authentic that the more authentic we are, the more the right people, which is like all of you guys right here are like the right people. Like, I'm so glad it's not people that don't see eye to eye with me, because it would just not be fun for anyone. It wouldn't be very effective. It wouldn't work as a cohesive group, because we're all here together and it all works as a group because we're all aligned with similar viewpoints and similar life views and perspectives and belief systems and values. And so we don't want to try to like convert anyone and like make them like see what we see or know what we know or believe what we believe. But we can just lead by example, which I think is kind of also what you're saying, is like, I just need to like focus on myself of like, yes, and we do teach what we have to learn, and we're probably all, because of our transformation, it's like we had to learn it, and we have to keep learning it usually. Like, it's something we have to keep teaching because it's something we just have to keep reinforcing in our own lives. So, yeah. Bye, Shauna. Any other questions or anything like so far that we've worked on? It doesn't have to be, we've kind of been talking about stories and our own story. And we're going to be reading Code of an Extraordinary Mind. So if you've finished Marie Kondo, start reading that. And really diving into starting to like, part of our stories is like looking at our limiting beliefs, looking at kind of the shadow sides, and looking at like how we're holding ourselves back, and how is the resistance showing up in our own, whether it's like our own identity, like our old identity that we kind of get stuck in, of like thinking like I'm this way or I'm that way, or I can't do this, or that's not the kind of person I have been in the past. So start to really, and he calls them in Code of an Extraordinary Mind rules, bullshit rules, and being able to identify. I love the book because he's created all these new terms like rules and culturescape and becoming unfuckwithable and blissciplines. And so it's kind of fun because then we can use that vocabulary moving forward, and we'll kind of all be on the same page, and we'll know what he's talking about, or what we're talking about. So keep working on, again, repetition with the habits, again, and so that you can be at your peak. And that's the point. It's like we want to be at our best, like doing what we need to do. And that means we're going to have to give up some of those old habits and behaviors that are actually holding us back from being at our peak, whether it's like staying up too late or working at night or whatever it is. Because again, it's like we're trying to, there's bigger issues, more important than like my little kind of desire to stay up late. So again, it's like, and he gives a lot of these examples in the book of, I can't remember any specific ones right now, of people that are doing like huge things in the world. Like the problems they're trying to solve, it's like, how can I live to be 180? Like, if that's your perspective, and there's a few people that I feel like I've talked to lately, or not talked to personally, but like heard about or listened to or read, it's like Dave Asprey is one of them. I think he's like, my intention is to live to 180. So if your intention was to live to 180, like what choices would you make tomorrow? Like what choices would you make tonight? Like how would you go to sleep tonight knowing that I'm trying to live to 180 here? Like what would you eat tomorrow? Like how would you what kind of exercise? Like how would you use your body tomorrow? And that's like, again, it's like how can we think bigger? Like think so much bigger. It's like how can we and this is like the idea of like shooting for the moon, and you know, if you missed, you'll still land in the stars. Or I can't remember exactly how that goes, but you probably have heard that quote before. Like make the problem that you're trying to solve so big that even if you don't solve that big problem, the problems that you'll solve in trying to solve the big problem will be much bigger than if you just try to solve the small problem. Does that make sense? Yes, no. You guys are like, you'll freeze and then everyone will move. I don't know if it's, yeah, Madeline. I don't know if my connection's slow. Okay, I'll let you mute.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to that. I've just seen that so clearly as I feel like I get closer and closer to myself, to, you know, what I'm launching.
Yeah.
The more well, one thing is the little problems, like I was saying, they kind of melt away. They seem insignificant, more insignificant. But if I find, you know, I'm tired, or I've happened to, how can I say this? It's like when I'm really focused on what I'm doing, those problems, they don't really even rate. But if I let them, then they can really get in the way and become way bigger than they need to be. So it's like this flip-flop.
Totally.
Like feel like I'm on a bit of a roller coaster, depending on just I guess on how I'm feeling in that moment.
Yeah, totally. And
Really
that's
weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And it is like that. And that is the experience, because we will get caught up in like the little problems, and they'll like hit us hard, and we'll feel really affected by them, and we'll just take them really personally. And then it's like, no. Okay, big perspective. And yeah, it is like a little bit of like contraction, expansion, and that's like, you know, that's the nature of consciousness, is like that's how it moves. And we almost have to do that, because we have to almost get so like contracted that we're like, oh, this sucks, like I need to like get big again. And then it's like, oh, and then life creates contraction again. It's, oh yeah, I gotta remember, this is like a yogic teaching of like, you know, spanda, of like the pulsation of the universe, and of concealment and revelation. It's like we are like the truth is revealed, and then like life will conceal it from us. It'll hide it from us, which is like resistance comes in. And then it's like, this sucks. And like, how can I remember? And like, there's the revelation. And then like life contracts on us, and it is a roller coaster, and that's life. And it's like,
but do you find that this
yeah,
do you find that the spikes get deeper? Like I was hoping they'd kind of even out after a while. I almost find as things get,
I don't know. I don't. I have not found that they get less intense, because the stakes also, I don't know, they kind of get higher too.
Yeah.
So you're trying to like the problem, like the problems get bigger. Like, oh, you're focused on the bigger problems, but then you don't want to get caught up. And it's like, you also want to keep focusing on the process, and keep focusing on, just lost my train of thought. Oh yes. So you don't want to get stuck in like, my connection is unstable. Okay, there. Yeah. The failures will happen, and the setbacks will happen, and you know, that's one of the teachings is like you need to fail more. Fail more is the name of the game. Like, make more mistakes. And that's not a problem. It's like, the more mistakes you make, the more failures you go through, the more you learn, because again, each one is an opportunity. So don't let the failures again like stop you, because it's focus on the process, focus on the journey, focus on the practices, keep focusing on the work, not the result, because the result is like we don't have control over the result.
Yeah.
We have control over like what we do, like what we put into it. And so just focus on what you're putting into it, of like doing your best, of peak performance, of showing up 100%, like expanding into, if I were to live to 180, it's like, that's my intention. Or it's like, the issues that I'm gonna, the problems that I'm gonna solve are this big. What do I need to do today? What do I need to plan to do tomorrow? How do I need to show up? What are the habits I need to cultivate? How do I need to structure my environment to support that? What are the little, like, what's the morning routine that I need to, that'll set me up? What's the evening routine that'll set me up to be able to get the restoration that's required so that I can show up again 100% tomorrow? It's all these little things. It's like big picture. And then what do I have to do today?
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow.
In that book, there's a book by Jen Sincero. It's like how to be a badass or something like that. And she says that she wakes up in the morning and thinks, how can I blow up my life today?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And the other thing she says that I love is, what can I get away with? What, like, in my life, how much can I actually get away with here? And
totally.
it kind of like just expands everything when you think about, your problems that you deal with, but you think about entrepreneurs like I don't know, Richard Branson, people at another level who run multiple companies and just blow things out of the water. It's kind of
and that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say is like, can we start to think that way? Even though it's like, who am I to think that way? Like, I just have my little life, like trying to do these little things, whether it's like, I'm just trying to raise my kids or whatever. Like, it's like, how can I still think that way of like, how important can I make my life? Although it's like, again, it's such a like, yes, you're so insignificant, but like, yes, you're so important. It's both. It's always both. But yeah, it's like, think bigger. It's like, can we just get out of all the little boxes? Like, just bust those open. Like, can we as a culture just, right here and do your dharma in our little group, just start to like not be held back by just the petty little things that hold us back from living like bigger, more important, more meaningful lives. And I'm not saying we all have to like run, multi-million-dollar companies where we're solving like world peace, but like in our way, in each of our own ways, that requires our own unique gifts, like what we specifically are here to do, and whatever way that looks like. But just expand that out. Like, what's the small thing you want to do? This is a good journal practice, and then we'll kind of close with this. Yes, you are the universe. You are the point the universe is trying to make. Yes, I love that quote. So your intention, even just your intention for being here, and some of you I know was like you were trying to figure that out. You're not sure yet, but hi, yeah, 2 minutes. Can you 10x that? Like, what would 10x the problem that you're trying to solve, or the thing that you're trying to do? If you were to 10x that, what does that look like? And that is like a practice to break open. And it's a hard practice. Like, I tried to do that the other way, and it's because we only know what we know, right? Like, we only know the small problem that we're trying to solve. Like, we can't even, it's like so hard to even think beyond that. But even just like as a practice, just to try, just to start to orient of like, whether it's your own business or whether it's just like what you want to do in your family or in your work or, in your creative pursuits, like what would 10x that look like? Even with your own like health or energy. Like, if I could feel 10 times better than I do now, what would that even look like? Like, what would that even enable? Like, how would that change everything? So I'll leave you guys with that. Any last closing thoughts, comments, questions? This is fun. I'm glad that we could talk, and that my internet works enough to talk. And I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. And I love the sharing on Facebook. Thank you. Keep that up and connect with your mastermind. How's that going? Mastermind?
Good.
Yeah? Okay, good. Awesome. All right. I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Have a great week. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.